What's up, guys? I'm Tim Gettys. This is Nick Scarpino. This is the Furious 7
grab it.
commemorative cup
suck out of it.
that we saw when we saw Furious 7 last night, and it was amazing.
I bought like 9 of these
my
things.
God!
I have so many of these things that I'm gonna roll around in them on my living room.
It's a family heirloom.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Tim, let's talk about before we get into the film. There are going to be some spoilers, by the way, guys. I apologize. There's no way we can talk about this without having there be a few spoilers.
Exactly.
We'll try to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah, but the thing with the spoilers is we're spoiling just like action stuff. It's still worth watching.
It's still worth watching.
Someone could describe every single moment of this movie, and it still would be worth watching.
It's very much worth watching on the big screen.
Yeah.
It's a fast movie, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
So we go to a special screening of this movie. We sit there for 3 hours. We go in, and there's a PA system set up, and we're thinking, who are they going to bring out to talk to us? My gut told me it's going to be like an executive producer or a producer of the film. Hey, I'm so-and-so. You never heard of me when I'm producing the film. And someone comes out. A nice woman comes out to starts talking to us. She's very excited to share this movie with us. This is the second screening they've done. And then the crowd goes wild as who walks in, Tim? Tyrese, the man himself.
Roman Pierce himself comes out.
Gets us even more excited for the film than I think it would have been. Too furious.
It was good.
And then the film starts.
Yeah.
And it opens, I don't want to spoil this scene too much, but it opens on a great scene with Jason Statham that sets up his character and pretty much the tone of the film.
Just shows how badass he is.
This film is completely over the top. Whereas I think Fast 6 kept a little bit back. Maybe just a little bit.
That's the thing. When you first saw it, you didn't think that.
No, that's true. That's true. Compared, I keep putting this word, and I just spit. Compared to Fast 6, Fast 7 is like on speed, which is hard to believe.
It's like if you take all the things you love about Fast and Furious and just condense it and just keep doing it over and over and cut out a lot of the fat. Right. This movie doesn't have much fat.
So like, let's start at top level. What did you think of it?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah.
I loved it too, mostly because it's a fast movie. It had some issues, I thought. Largely, I think, due to the fact that I don't know that they were able to finish the movie they wanted to make because of Paul Walker's death. I think that's
unfair to say. I think that like they did a really good job having dealt with that stuff.
I think all of that stuff was great, and we can go into that in a little bit. But I think that the movie felt a little disjointed. It felt like they weren't really, and this is sad to say because we are talking about a Fast and Furious movie, it doesn't feel like they really gave too much of thought to the plot or how characters were getting from the big set pieces. You know, you have a little bit of exposition here and there. You have, we've seen the Dom and Letty relationship come full circle now, where she's still trying to figure out who she is and he's still in love with her and all that stuff. We get to see a little bit more of their backstory. And we have the Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster kind of story where he's a family man now and
which gives us a great minivan scene.
Yeah, he's got again, I don't want to spoil too much.
I'm just saying, a great minivan scene.
But the movie is mostly about the big set pieces, and that's what you're going to see this for. You're not going to see a movie for it's not going to win an Academy Award. It's not going to win any sort of Golden Globes for the writing or even the acting for that matter. But it is a phenomenally fun ride while it lasts. Yeah, and it's a lot. It's like 2 hours long.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Huge set piece to huge set piece.
Just action. And that's the thing is like I kind of disagree with you where I'm happy there wasn't more exposition and there wasn't more like, why are we going to this place? Let's talk about why we're going here. Then let's go. It just kind of was like, now we're in Abu Dhabi. Why? Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
that's where the buildings are.
It
that
really
they're
was,
gonna jump between.
That's true, and it really was hilarious because they were, they were like, why are you going to Tokyo? It's like to bring, let's take a step back. I loved the Tokyo Drift connection. Yeah. I wanted more of that. Yeah, there was not a lot of it.
Exactly.
We get to see it. They just gave you exactly what you needed with that, but I wanted more. I wanted more.
That's been what I wanted since Tokyo Drift. Like, since the whole series, since 4 started getting all like, let's connect the whole story and make this a franchise, I had been waiting for the connection back to Tokyo Drift. We got it in 6. We saw that Jason Statham was the one to kill Han. So we knew that this one was going to be the one to bring in the white boy from Tokyo Drift. And that was so exciting to me. And then he is a cameo at best.
Yeah, I mean, they got him back, which is awesome. And it's, I think they probably realized that a number of years have gone by and he doesn't look like a high school kid anymore. He looks like he's in his mid-40s.
Which is even more apparent because they actually use footage from Tokyo Drift.
Which was cool. They used, I thought that was dope. They used the scene at the very, very last scene of Tokyo Drift where Bow Wow comes up to him and says, hey, there's this guy that knows Han. He wants to race you. I'm sorry. There's a guy that wants to race you. He's like, nah, I'm good right now. And he goes, nobody says he knows Han.
Yeah.
And it's the iconic scene. I don't know if it's iconic, but it's the scene where he pulls up.
That's pretty iconic.
And they're about to drift, and he looks over, it's the GTO, and he's like, there's
But that's
no way
what's weird. They didn't show that scene.
I wanted to see that race.
I want to see the race
so
too.
badly, and we never had to see it. And now we'll never see it.
I'm really hoping there might be like a director's cut or something one day where we see that.
I mean, that's an expensive scene.
But that felt super like disjointed right there.
You know, but it was plot exposition. It was we needed that. We needed to see them talk. It was cool. We always, ever since I saw that scene, I was like, what happens next? How do these two characters, is this like a relationship they form, or is it just a kind of two ships passing the night?
And it's not.
And it's not,
and I think that's my biggest problem with this entire movie, for sure, is the fact that, spoilers, there's no like huge reveal for the next movie. You know, like a couple movies back, we found out that, well, the 3 in 3, there was the big reveal of, oh shit, Vin Diesel is about to race this guy.
Right,
that was huge. Then in
that,
5,
and what was amazing about that was that, you know, that tied it into the rest of the series. Up until that point, we were like, oh, Fast and Furious is just going to be one-off adventures with these two people. Oh no, we know that Vin Diesel's here because Han was his boy, because there's a bigger story happening here somewhere.
We didn't really know that till 4, but that laid the groundwork.
It laid the groundwork.
And Justin Lin did that.
Yes.
Knowing.
Well, no, he needed to tie it all back together, because the movie's not about racing.
No, it's about family.
It's about family.
And this movie definitely
makes
sure that we know that.
And you know, it's about family for a number of perspectives, a number of points, which we'll go into later. But continue.
But yeah, so Fast 5, we get the reveal at the end that Letty's actually still alive. She died in 4, but then we have Eva Mendes come back in her first appearance since 2, which is kind of weird, and just like, you know, show the police reports or whatever, and you see Letty still alive. You're like, oh crap! So that's what 6 is about. And then in 6, we see that it's actually Jason Statham that killed Han. So that's what 7's about. Wow. This didn't have that.
And again, I think I want to give the producers and the director a benefit of the doubt. I don't know that this is the 100% the story they wanted to tell.
Definitely.
I think that, you know, you see this, it has great big set pieces. I mean, that's really what these movies are about. It's about watching these fun characters that we've been with for 7 movies now interact with each other. They know each other. They're all actually friends. You can tell. You can tell they like each other. You can tell they have a great camaraderie. And it's about watching them talk a little bit and then blow some stuff up.
In one-liners. They like exclusively talk in one-liners.
Especially The Rock. The Rock has some fantastic
Oh my god. And the Rock, like, I think we kind of disagree about this a little bit. But
well, I always want there to be more Rock in every movie. I think he's the best character in every movie.
I think they used just the right amount of The Rock. He's in the beginning, something's happened to him, and then he doesn't come back until the end.
There's a smattering of The Rock in this movie. It's not really about The Rock. It's really more focused on Dom. And his crew.
The boys. Which is good, because that made The Rock so much more special. Every single thing he did or said was just stole the show. It was amazing.
They outdid this. I'm interested to hear other people's opinions on this too, because I love the movie. I love Fast and Furious. I will watch it again. But some of it was so over the top that it lost me a little bit. And
you're breaking me, Nick.
Some of it was. And that's the thing, I think the movie, because it was just boom, 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 didn't give me enough time to reset and invest in the characters a little bit, so that when they had those big wow set moments, like the one where we've seen both of these in the trailer, so this is not spoilers, but the one where he runs over the bus was awesome.
Yeah, as the bus.
That was a lot of build up to that. We had a lot. I was invested in that scene. He does it, and even though I saw it in the trailer, when Letty comes and she does that, I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the scene where he jumps through the buildings, plural. That was awesome. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is these two characters doing what I want them to do, which is talking and like being there for each other during this crazy set of circumstances that like they're gonna die in a second, but they're not spoilers. They don't die.
I think that's the biggest compliment that I can give this movie, is that the trailer was so good and showed so much. Like, we saw so many of the set pieces in the trailer, and every single one takes it a step further.
Yeah.
And every single one surprised me and made me go, oh shit. I have never smiled so hard watching a movie. Like, I think I was smiling
from ear to ear. I kept looking over and
the
you were
entire
like,
time. It was just ridiculous. Like, every single thing that happens amazing, and then they just keep upping it. And man, they just understand this franchise. They know what it is. And there's the fight scenes too are amazing.
Well, that's something they've always been really good at since about 4, when they decided to go straight up Muay Thai, like MMA. And I think that's, I don't know if it's Paul Walker's doing, but you can tell he definitely used to kickbox. Because when he starts fighting with Tony Jaa, which is everything they're in together is awesome.
Yeah.
All the fight scenes are great. And you actually get a sense that he can hold his own against Tony Jaa, which he cannot. He would not be able to in real life.
But it was fun, and the choreography was great. And then we get the fight between
parkour in there.
Oh yeah. Dope. Michelle Rodriguez versus
Ronda Rousey.
Was it
Ronda Rousey?
Was Ronda Rousey the girl from the first?
No,
she's the last one. All right, cool. Yeah. So they were fighting.
Carano was the one.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was awesome. That was brutal. We get a fight between The Rock and Jason Statham, which is amazing, and he actually rock bottoms him
He does.
Which
And
they
he
must have paid rights to WWE for that.
They probably
which
did.
Is amazing.
But it was worth
they
it.
did that.
That's, if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's in one of the trailers. The director has this fun. He has a lot of fun stuff with the camera too. There's a lot of zooms and a lot of craziness where he puts he follows the action. So as he rock bottoms, we don't follow the Rock. We follow Statham.
The camera just kind of goes
over. And all that was great.
Yeah.
Look, it was great fun. I think I liken it to this. It's like really good pizza. After that third slice, you don't really need the fourth slice, but you eat the fourth slice.
Yeah.
Then you're thinking about the fifth slice. This was the whole large pizza. You ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
You about 5-6 slices in, and you're like, you know what? I don't need any more of this, but it's in front of me, so I'm going to consume the hell out of it and enjoy it as it's going. And that's how I feel about this one. Whereas 6, I was a little bit more emotionally invested, just because there was Han, there was the Han story.
Yeah.
All that stuff happened, and that really felt like it was maybe the end of the series for me, because we knew there was going to be 7, but we didn't know there was going to be 7. This one is kind of icing on the cake, right? It's like it's your birthday party and they bring out cupcakes and a cake.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not going to complain about this. And some of the set pieces fell flat. Some of them weren't.
I don't agree at all.
Well, some of them just didn't need to be as long as they were. Like
I don't know, man.
So long.
Like that's what I thought was what made it special. Like the scene we've seen so much from the trailers of the skydiving cars, which we haven't even mentioned in this yet.
Well, that was actually funny because that was the scene that was the shortest. Like
No,
when they're
it wasn't?
just the
actual
skydiving part,
skydiving.
which I liked. I was like, oh, there's not going to be anything crazy. I mean, there was some comical elements, which was really fun.
Great.
But
But I liked that because then they land and there's this whole like crazy formation thing, and then they split up into multiple teams and they start driving down the mountain. And there's all these different things they did, and it was a very long.
that whole sequence was awesome. That's the sequence that leads up to the bus sequence. That was awesome. Don't get me wrong. That was awesome. Again, we're critiquing a movie that really ought not to be critiqued. This is one of those movies that you're not really. You go get a giant thing of popcorn, get a giant Diet Coke, sit, watch it on the biggest screen you possibly, or a regular Coke if you're under the age of 35. You're gonna watch it on the biggest screen you can possibly find, and you're gonna think it's hilariously fun. It's just fun. They're fun popcorn movies.
These movies are so good at making the entire theater involved. Like people are.
Oh my God, we were
It doesn't much
screaming
that
and
they're
hooting and
talking and stuff, but yeah, like you're allowed to laugh, you're allowed to clap, and it's like I'm usually not a fan of clappers in movies.
I clap.
But it's like, but the thing is, you clap at the end, but people clap during scenes in this. It's like something happens and it's like,
dude, I clapped, and it's again and again. This is another shot in the trailer, so don't get all pissed off in the comments about spoilers. I almost stood up when the Rock literally is looking outside of his hospital window, sees explosions on the news. It's like, whatever, and he's like, Toretto.
No, it's not whatever. On the news they say,
there's like
outside, it's what can only be described as vehicular warfare.
Yeah, and he's like, and he does, for some reason he's got his gun and his vest by the hospital bed. His daughter's there, she's been there the whole time. So when he actually delivers the line, Daddy's got to go to work, he's not just talking to himself, he's talking to his 10-year-old daughter. And she goes, I understand, pounds his hand, and he like rips out of his fucking cast.
I told you it was
goes
about
to
family.
work. Gotta go to work. That's what this is about. It's about family going to work.
It's so good. It's so
I liked
Russell
it. Kurt Russell
was amazing, and I love this. So here's the thing: the movie didn't give me the one thing that I was looking for, which is that big post-credits reveal scene. And the reason for that probably is
maybe
not.
Maybe they just don't. Maybe they want to go in a different direction with it.
Well, because they handled Paul Walker really well.
Well, let's talk about that last.
Yeah, let's talk about that last. But I think that they didn't give me the reveal because of that, which makes sense. But what they did do is they left a lot of people alive. We won't spoil it, but like certain characters are left alive in a way that's like, okay, there is room for the sequels. I understand what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
But what's most important is Kurt Russell, who is essentially this character that allows.
He's now like the Nick Fury of
the Nick Fury
Fast and
who can
Furious.
just give them whatever tech they want.
Did you get that sense where like, you know, they like just leave him in the middle of nowhere and he's like, don't worry, I'll be okay. He's like, you're not leaving me, I'm leaving you. And you see the Black Hawk helicopter coming for him. This guy's like, he plays Mr. Nobody. I don't even think he had a name. Did he have a name the whole time?
His name was Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, I think it was Mr. Nobody. And he just plays this comical character that's, you know, the ultra badass. It's Kurt Russell, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's playing Kurt Russell playing Kurt Russell as a guy in Fast and Furious. And he's fun. It's fun. He was, again, the black suit, black tie thing. I didn't need that, but eventually I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
I liked it because
it's a little stereotypical.
What it does is it shows that in the next movies they can up the ante even beyond this somehow and have it make sense, because now they have this MacGuffin that's just like, all right, cool. You can.
Oh well, they're always gonna have that, but they've got Kurt Russell who can now send them on different things.
Yeah, so that's gonna be great.
It's gonna be really interesting to see. Let's close out though and talk about Paul Walker.
Yes.
So the movie closes, and obviously you knew this was gonna happen. This is another one of my moments where I clapped and felt like I needed to almost stand up. The movie closes and it goes to a white screen with black text that just says "For Paul."
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Classy. Very classy.
And they did a great, probably the best job you possibly could have done shooting around him not being a part of this.
Yeah.
For the latter half of the film. They used, as everyone knows, they used a number of stand-ins, which were his two brothers, and they used some of the facial replacement like technology that they used on stuff like Benjamin Button, things like that. And for the most part, it worked okay. Now, if you're a newcomer to the series, don't start with 7, because you're not going to know what the hell's going on. But if this is your first movie in Fast and the Furious, you're going to think that shot looked a little weird. That's not for you. It's for all of us that have loved watching Paul Walker and these guys get along for the last 7 movies. And we needed to see a little closure. And that's what these were about.
And the thing is, like, you know, a lot of people are going to jump just because they know that it's CG. I feel like there's going to be a lot of hate of like, oh, it didn't look good, it was creepy, and it was weird. And it's like, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I was watching, I didn't notice it the entire movie until the last shot.
There was 2 shots that I noticed it, and I'm not gonna call it out because I want people to watch this, and if they don't see it, they don't see it. That's great. If you don't see it, don't look for it. There's a couple shots where you could tell it wasn't him. There's a couple shots you can tell where they done the face stuff. But they needed to. They had to.
It didn't take me out of it, though.
It didn't take me out of it. But it doesn't take you out of it also because, and that's when people ask me if Fast and Furious, do I really, really like Fast and Furious? The answer is yes, I do. Do I think they're great movies? No, I don't think they're Academy Award winning movies. I don't think this is like the Godfather trilogy. I don't even think these rank up. I mean, they rank highly, but they're not about that. It's about family. They created a community and they created a culture where it's just about having fun, right? And part of that was the sort of ludicrous, no pun intended, nature of all these situations these guys have been in the last 7 movies, and a big part of that was Paul Walker. So you go into that, and it's almost like you are friends with these people, and you want to watch them do these crazy things. You want to be on that ride with them. You're not watching them, you're actually experiencing it with them. And so we, as all of us that have been a part of this, we needed that sense of closure for Paul Walker. I needed to see the shot that they closed the movie out.
Yeah.
You got to see
it. It was great, and it was
and
very
classy,
and they did it
very
good.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil it for you because I want you guys to have that emotional connection if it works for you. If not, whatever. You know, you're dead inside. But you know, I think that they're very clear as to where they're taking the franchise going forward.
Yeah.
It was a very nice. I actually got a little sad at the end of it. I was a little.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I thought it was cool too that like the movie didn't like play with your emotions with that. Like there wasn't a moment at the end where you're like, oh man, is Paul Walker gonna die? You very clearly knew that he wasn't gonna die.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't in any sense of like
they didn't wuss out and be like, let's rewrite a situation where they kill him. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's not even so much about killing him. It's so much about like I feel like the easy way to handle it would have been to capitalize off the emotion and like, you know, kind of like build it up and make it look like he might be dying and then he like comes back to life or whatever.
Right.
But like they didn't do that. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought that like they gave him a great story in this. They gave him a lot of fun action. They gave him a lot of cool things to do.
And surprisingly,
then gave him such a good send off.
Yeah, and surprisingly, he's the main character.
Yeah.
Like he's not. It wasn't. They didn't. My big worry was that halfway through the film they were going to sidetrack him.
Yeah.
And he's not. They must have filmed a good portion of it with him, and whatever they did with his brother, or with the 2 brothers and the stand-ins and the face stuff, worked because you don't really notice it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the scene probably with. My guess is that one of the fight scenes with Tony Jaa is probably not him.
Which probably wouldn't have been him anyways.
But it probably wouldn't have been him anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. He actually did a lot of his own stunts. I think he did a lot of the fight work. Yeah, because you could tell he knows how to move. He knew Muay Thai. He knew Jiu-Jitsu. Ultimately, this is the big question, Tim. And I know we've run a little long on this.
I don't think so. We can talk about this forever.
That's very true.
What you're about to say needs to be its own video. Ranking the Fast and Furious.
Where does this rank in your pantheon of Fast and Furious movies?
You know, we're going to have to do our own video about that where we really get into it a bit later because we need to let it sink in. But discussing it right now, how I feel about it, it's definitely top 3.
Okay.
Definitely.
Bold.
Where it falls there, I don't know. I've always kind of struggled with what number 1 is.
That's all I needed to know. I don't need to necessarily, because my top 3 changes. 1 is usually my top, just gotta give it to it, because I go back and watch that movie and I'm like, it's so bad, but I love it so much.
No.
It's a guilty pleasure.
You can't do that.
If it's in your top 3, I don't. Yeah, I gotta let it sink.
I think that 5, 6, and 7 are definitely the top 3.
Here's my deal.
It's undebatable.
Last night I walked out and I was tired, and it was a really long movie, and I was like, I didn't like it as much. Then I woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? I did like that movie. I liked it a lot more than I thought I did. So I'm gonna have to think about where it fits.
Yeah.
In my lineup.
Because my thing is, I always say that 5 is the best movie in the franchise, because if you just watch one Fast and Furious movie, I think it should be 5.
Fair enough.
Because they introduce the characters well enough, and you don't really need to.
That's the hard. I think 5 of 6. That's the problem. Is I think of 5 of 6 as part 1 and part 2.
Exactly.
Like that's the problem. If
But
they just called it 5, 1, 5, 2, I'd have been like, dope. It's one.
Well, I mean, that's what it. I mean, that's the director made of that. It was Fast 5 and Furious 6.
I know. So like it's hard. Those I kind of lump in together.
But that's the thing though, is like, even having said that, it's like Star Wars in a lot of ways, where New Hope. Yeah, you needed the sequels, but you didn't really. Like, it was fine. I feel like 5's the same way. Like, 5 did have an ending. 5 ends better than any of the others. That's when they're all billionaires.
Yeah, but they're still outlaws. So they can't come home. 6 is about coming home, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay.
6 is about 6. Well, we can go into this forever. But then we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this review at some point, because Greg's standing here going, we gotta get set up for Colin and Greg live.
But all right, anyways.
Anyway.
Tim, it's really damn good.
Thank you so much for getting me into the movie, because you were the one that set that screening up.
Alex Salamita, I gotta give him a shout out. He's the one that texted me.
Alex Salamita. If you're having any hesitation of seeing Fast and Furious, or you don't like this film franchise, well, you are dead inside.
If anybody has that thought, I think made it this far.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everyone else that's ride or die with us, thank you so much for watching this. Tim, thank you so much for hosting this. Do you want to outro us out?
No. Just let us know in the comments what you think about Fast and Furious. Are you excited? And did you watch this video even though it was full of spoilers? Because I respect you. Until then, I love you.
I love you.